YouTubers, welcome back to AZ2 Ozarks. It is a beautiful October morning and we are looking at the pumpkin patch behind me. So this is where we've been growing our Musquee de Provence pumpkins and they are looking quite ready for harvest. They have this beautiful pink outer flesh and I am going to dig through here and see what we can find. I have a nice helper today who is going to very eagerly help me pull some pumpkins up. Where do you think you ought to start?
Right here.
Okay. Show me that pumpkin and tell me why you think it's ready.
Oh. Well, I guess I don't have to snip it.
All right, so we like to leave a long stem on the pumpkins. It makes them easier for handling. Let's take a look at that one. Show me the sides and everything.
There's the side it was laying on.
Looks nice.
Still a bit green though.
Yep, a little bit of green on it, but it has this flattened shape and they're really heavily ribbed. They're quite a beautiful pumpkin. And later we'll get into why I chose this variety. And it really has a lot to do with the fact that they have shellless seeds. So when we cut into it here in a little bit, I'll show you those seeds. And you're supposed to be able to roast them and eat them without having to chew through a hard shell.
Dang it, it escaped.
Is that one ready?
Quite a bit of green. Yes.
So the first one we cut still had quite a bit of green on it, and we were so eager to harvest it that we cut it anyway and brought it inside, and it still turned orange inside. Now we have brought our pumpkin inside, and next we will open it up to check out those seeds as well as to begin roasting it. So I actually prefer to roast a pumpkin whole without slicing it because it requires quite a bit of force to cut through it. But I want to be able to have these seeds and roast them separately, so I am going to attempt to cut through this, and I'm guessing the best way is to go through this long side here. We'll see. All right, that was actually easier than I expected. And here's the inside of our pumpkin. Let's look at these seeds. Those definitely look like they have a shell to me. The next thing to do is scoop out the stringy parts and the seeds. And then you can separate the seeds from the stringy part if you're going to roast those. When you have your pumpkin relatively cleaned out, next we will place it face down on a parchment-lined baking sheet. And we will roast at 350 degrees for anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour. It just depends on how big your pumpkin is. So this is probably where I got confused. In the catalog where I ordered these seeds, here it shows naked seeded pumpkins and shows these beautiful seeds without shells. And here is our pumpkin that we ordered. Now, both of these two say specifically in the descriptions that they are naked seeded. This one, however, does not, but it's on the same page. So that must be where I got confused. I was really looking forward to naked seeded pumpkin seeds, so we wouldn't have to shell them or crunch so much through them, but it's okay. It still is a beautiful pumpkin that so far we're enjoying so much, but it definitely has holes on the seeds. A good way to test if the pumpkin is finished cooking, you simply puncture it with a fork and see that goes easily in. That means that it is finished. If it's still resisting you quite a bit and not going in easily, then allow a little more time. And now I will allow it to cool completely before I scrape the insides out. Just for the fun of it, because I did have some little pie pumpkins around from my neighbor's garden, I figured I would roast them both at the same time. So here is our Musquee de Provence, and you can see that the flesh is very bright orange. And then here are our pie pumpkins. And so this is a much paler flesh. There's also a very distinct smell difference. And I find the Musquee de Provence much more appealing. I think the pie pumpkins kind of have a more musky smell, if that makes any sense. And next we will compare the appearance of them. Now let's look at the actual roasted pumpkins. So obviously the pie pumpkins are way smaller, but you can see that when you compare the flesh, there's a definite color difference there. So I'm assuming that our Musquee de Provence is going to make a much richer color in pumpkin puree for making our baked goods. Next, we will clean them out and puree them. Now that the pumpkin is cooled off, I use a spoon to scoop out the flesh. And you just scrape it all right out of the outer peel. Now that I've basically got it all scraped out of the outer skin, it's still quite stringy. So in order to prepare it for using for pumpkin pie or pumpkin bread, any of your recipes, you need to puree it. You can do this in a blender, or I like to use my handheld immersion blender. You can see that I have it now all pureed, nice and smooth. And I want to give you a color reference between the Musquee de Provence and the pie pumpkin. So you can see there's a definite color difference. There's actually a texture difference as well. The Musquee is more thin, so more liquidy, but it's also more smooth. So next we will be baking using it. So I'll put a link for pumpkin spice bread, which will be a yeast bread instead of a quick bread, and you can try that out with your pumpkin puree. I hope you enjoyed this video of us harvesting and preparing our Musquee de Provence pumpkins. If you did, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos in the future.